At 2:37 a.m., a Christmas bus full of families slammed its brakes on a lonely highway. What they saw in the headlights were bodies, still alive. And that's when the gunshots started. The driver died instantly. The attackers closed in. But they didn't expect one thing. The bus was about to be driven by a 14-year-old boy. And that decision changed everything.
The Christmas road trip that turned into a nightmare Christmas. For most families, it's laughter, lights, food, and the joy of going home. For the Okafor family, it became a night they would never forget. It was December 22nd. Mr. Chinedu Okafor had just closed from work early. His wife Amara was already packing food into plastic containers, jollof rice, fried chicken, chin-chin for the kids. Their two sons were excited. 14-year-old David couldn't stop talking about fireworks in the village. 6-year-old Daniel was more interested in his toy car, racing it across the tiled floor. They had booked a night bus 2 weeks earlier. Departure time, 10:17 p.m. Arrival, 7:45 a.m. the next morning, a smooth overnight journey. At least, that's what they thought. The park was crowded, people carrying bags, mothers holding babies, the smell of fuel mixed with roasted corn in the distance. By 9:45 p.m., they boarded. The bus engine roared to life at exactly 10:03 p.m., and by 10:15 p.m., they were on the highway. Inside the bus, most passengers slowly drifted to sleep. Outside, the highway stretched endlessly into darkness. But there was something about that road, a stretch of about 12 kilometers, a place drivers whispered about. 3 weeks earlier, a commercial van was found abandoned there. The passengers? Missing. A week after that, another bus was discovered burnt. No survivors. The authorities called it bandit activity, but the locals knew better. There was a pattern, a cruel one. The ritualists who operated there had a tactic. They would abduct travelers earlier in the evening, tie them up, leave them alive, and place their bodies across the highway. When approaching vehicles saw human bodies on the road, they had no choice but to slow down. And the moment they did, the hunters emerged from the darkness. The Okafor family's bus had been traveling smoothly for hours. Most passengers were asleep. David wasn't. He was staring outside. Something felt off. At exactly 1:51 a.m., the driver suddenly pressed the brakes. The bus screeched violently. Passengers jerked awake. What happened? Why are we stopping? Then they saw it. Through the headlights. Bodies. 4 of them. Tied, lying across the road, some moving, still alive. The driver cursed under his breath. He slowed further. That was the mistake. Gunshots exploded from both sides of the road. Windows shattered instantly. Screams filled the bus. The driver was shot first. He slumped over the steering wheel. Blood splashed across the dashboard. Mr. Okafor tried to shield his family. A bullet tore through his arm. He screamed. Passengers ducked. Some were hit. Some froze in terror. Men in dark clothing rushed out of the bushes. They were fast, organized, cold. One of them fired directly into the bus again. Chaos. David's ears were ringing. His mother was crying. His little brother was shaking. His father couldn't move his arm. The driver was dead. The bus was still rolling slowly forward. The attackers were getting closer. In that moment, something changed in him. He didn't think. He acted. He jumped over 2 seats, slid into the driver's position. He had watched his father drive before. That was all he had. He pushed the driver's body aside, pressed the accelerator. The engine roared. Gunshots hit the back of the bus. One of the attackers tried to climb in, but the bus jerked forward violently. David gripped the steering wheel with shaking hands. The bus swerved, almost tipped, but he kept going. He didn't look back. He couldn't. The attackers fired until the bus was too far. But they didn't chase. They never chased. Because fear was their weapon, and most vehicles never escaped. David drove for what felt like hours. In reality, 7 minutes. 7 of the longest minutes of his life. Finally, a military checkpoint appeared in the distance. He began honking, nonstop. The soldiers rushed forward, and when they opened the bus doors, they stepped into a scene of horror. Broken glass, blood, crying children, bodies, but survivors, because of a 14-year-old boy. The Okafor family didn't make it to the village that day. They spent Christmas in a hospital. Mr. Okafor survived. Several passengers survived. Some did not. The ritualists were hunted down weeks later after investigations linked them to multiple disappearances. But for David, sleep would never be the same. To this day, he says he still sees it. The headlights, the bodies on the road, and the moment childhood ended. Some roads are not meant to be traveled at night. And sometimes, heroes are born in the darkest hours.